message, I want to tell you a story that is related to the message. And it's about this little boy. And his mother said, and he's really afraid of the dark, and his mother told him to go outside to the back porch in the dark to bring her the broom. And he said, I don't want to go out there because it's dark out there, and I'm afraid of the dark. And she said, oh, honey, there's nothing to be afraid of because God's out there, you know? And God will protect you and look over you and is there to help you and do anything you want to do. So just go on out there and get the broom. He said, are you sure? And she said, yes, I'm sure. God is out there. So the little boy goes to the door and he cracks it open just a little way and he looks out there and he says, God, if you're out there, would you hand me the broom? So, is he the only one, and his mother the only one that grew up thinking that God was out there? Right? So today's message is God first. It's one of our 6 Unity Santa Fe core values. Guess which one? The first one. God first. And one of the things that's happening in the Unity movement is we're trying to get away from talking to a God that seems to be outside of us, that seems to be out there, although we know God is immanent and transcendent. And so if you call Silent Unity nowadays, if you read Daily Word nowadays, you'll still see the word God. But they're really bringing this oneness language. We're really bringing this oneness language. And so before we can talk about God first, I think it's important to get an understanding of God, right? So no matter what name you call God, we're not here to change you calling God anything you want to call God, but to make it more personal and for me to rewire my neural nets, which go to that God out there that was a man, an old man with a white beard, sitting on a cloud. I mean, I still look up sometimes, you know, when I'm turning to God, right? So we're going to build new neural nets in our brain. You know, brain plasticity is great. So I'm using a lot from my personal use, and of course, whatever works for you, my divine nature. Because that's what God is. God is my divine nature. And it ties into the first 2 basic principles taught by Unity, which is the nature of God and the nature of humankind. The nature of God is that God is everywhere present, all-powerful, all-knowing. And the nature of humankind is that we are made in the image and likeness of God. So guess what? There's a part of us, our true nature, that is all-knowing, everywhere present, and all-powerful. So that's the divine nature. So when we say God first, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about turning to God first, turning to our divine nature, getting away from our personality, our ego, our pain body, all of that stuff, and our intellect, to really turn within to that part of us that is divine, that was before the body, and that will be after the body, and that is right now as well. So the human condition that today's message addresses is that tendency to, when we say God first, turn to a God out there, a God who does things for us and to us and whatever. And also we have this human tendency to work really hard at figuring things out, right? Of making decisions, of dealing with problems, with challenges. We effort ourselves to figure it out, right? We wail and gnash our teeth sometimes to figure out what to do. So today's message is helping us to overcome that human condition with the spiritual solution, which is to turn within first, to turn to that divine nature that we are made in the image and likeness of, to turn to it for guidance, for direction. And, you know, if you want to know what's in it, any of you who have experienced it, and I know I have, it's so much easier. Life is so much easier when I, of my human self, quit trying to figure out what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and when to keep my mouth shut. You know, if I can just quit trying to figure it out, and I can turn within to that place of the Holy of Holies, then I get my answers. Maybe not in the moment, that I turn within, but I have developed a trust that the more time I spend turning within, the more I've primed the pump so that when I need that guidance, it will be available. And those times when I need the guidance and it's not there, then I can do those things to bring myself into alignment with this divine nature that is our true essence in order to find the answer. And that's what we mean by God first, is to seek first that wisdom. Actually, it's not just wisdom. It's all of our 12 powers. In Unity, we have 12 powers that the Jesus in us calls forth, like Jesus back then called forth the disciples. We have these powers that we call forth. We have the power of faith. We have the power of will, imagination, understanding, zeal, power, the power of power, love, wisdom, strength, order, life, and release. These are all part of our divine nature. And our job is to call on them. So maybe when we put God first, maybe I'm going to put my faith first. Maybe I'm going to put my strength first in a given situation. But I'm going to call for that within me. So I think of that little boy going to the, afraid to asking if there's a God out there. I wonder how different it might have been for him and his mom if he'd have learned that he had that power, that strength, right in the midst of him, that he could call on to support, nourish, and inspire him as he stepped out to do something that his humanity was afraid of, right? Because that's just it. It's only our humanity that is afraid. It's only our humanity that holds us back, that has thoughts of lack and limitation. But our divine nature, which we in Unity call Christ, it's also called Buddha nature, Yahweh consciousness, Allah, whatever name we give it, it is right there in the midst of us, 24/7, waiting for us to call on it in all of our decisions, in everything that we think, say, and do. And so while I was researching this, I ran across several quotes because I think it's important that you don't think that this is just Brendalyn up here saying these things. Emmett Fox, who was a divine science minister and very beloved of the Fillmores, who co-founded Unity. And in all of our first-timer welcome packets, which if you're a first-timer today, you'll get later on in the service, there's a pamphlet called The Golden Key. I think we're still putting it in there, right? The Golden Key? Oh, we need to re-add that. The Golden Key is so important. And what the Golden Key in this whole pamphlet, it narrows down to stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. So I would rephrase that as think about, turn within to your divine nature instead of worrying about the difficulty, instead of struggling with the difficulty. And then Lao Tzu said, Immersed in the wonder of the now, you can deal with whatever life brings you. Whatever life brings you. Not just some of the things that life brings you, but immersed in your divine nature. You can deal with whatever life brings you. Rumi said, "See that you never wander from God's hand. Never for a moment be without remembrance of Him. The remembrance of God is force, power, strength, and endurance. It is the feathers and wings to the bird of spirit." It is the feather and wings to the bird of spirit. So never wander from your divine nature, from awareness of your divine nature, from the wisdom and the strength of your divine nature. And then another one that I found that I didn't write down the author, so I don't know who it was. I tried to Google it, but what can I say? It's when you discover the universe of your own inner space, it becomes quite natural to live each day putting God first. When we discover our divine nature, then it becomes easy to put God first. But if we're thinking it's only going to happen if we've been a good girl, right? Or a good boy, only if we've done things right and put all these conditions, and they aren't necessary. Because I like what Joel Goldsmith says. He says, God does not have what you want. God is what you want. And so when we turn within, we sometimes sing the songs of "Seek ye first the kingdom of God" and God's righteousness, and all these things will be given unto you. You know, straight from the Bible, based on Jesus's, one of those quotes from Jesus, where he said, yeah, seek first the kingdom. And all else will be provided to you. Not just some of things, but all else will be provided. And what I love, and what my experience has been, is that when I get out of my head and go into my heart and really listen in the silence, which means I don't hear anything, right? We don't hear in the silence. We simply immerse ourselves in the silence, and it's when we come out of the silence that we have tapped into this presence, this power of our divine nature, so that then the answer will come to us. And it may not be right after we come out of the silence. It may be later that day. It may be the next day. It may be the next week. We don't get to say when or where it comes. But when we can trust that that's what will happen, that when we trust in this all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere present divine nature that is our birthright, that is our essence, the answer will be given to us with effortless ease, grace, and joy. Without all that struggle, that toil and turmoil, that wailing and gnashing of the teeth. No longer do I have to turn to my intellect first, to some of you who I may call first, to Google or Wikipedia first. I mean, how often do we go? We go outside of ourselves first. And then when all else fails, what? We pray. We pray when all else fails. And what we're saying by this first core value of Unity Santa Fe is that we go first to our divine nature, to that within us that knows what to do and how to do it. See, we don't have to know the how. We just have to know the what. And the what is our divine nature. And so how we do this, of course, is first and foremost, always at Unity Santa Fe, is prayer and meditation. So I want to invite you to go on a journey with me in which I use a little combination of heart math and our core value of God first and what I call practical prayer. So I invite us to just take a moment to be fully present. To just be aware of the breath that is the very life that is your divine nature and my divine nature. To allow that life to move in you, through you, as you, without obstruction, because it is who you are. And just let it bubble up to mind an area in your life in which you're willing to put your divine nature first, to turn first to your divine nature. And just acknowledge silently whatever that situation, that challenge might be. And welcome it. Invite it into your heart. Calling on the power of release, elimination, to dissolve any blocks to love's awareness that may be present as you consider this situation. That means, first of all, we have to acknowledge what those blocks might be, and then just allow love to dissolve them. Allow faith to dissolve them. And take your attention from your head, from your thinking nature, and drop down to the heart, our feeling nature. And just begin breathing as if you're breathing through the heart at your own pace. While still focused on the heart and breathing through the heart, let come to mind something that gives you a regenerative feeling of joy, compassion, gratitude, love. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just anything that gives you that feeling tone. Continuously as if through the heart. As you feel that rejuvenating feeling. Knowing that it is when we get in touch with that feeling, when we experience that feeling, then we are in alignment with our divine nature. Because that's the vibration of our divine nature. So we're putting ourselves in alignment with, in harmony with, that all-knowing, all-powerful, all-presentness that we call by many names. And I invite us to just take whatever we are bringing to this situation, whatever question we may have, whatever problem, whatever situation or circumstance, just bring it to the altar of this one presence, this one power, this all-knowing wisdom. And place whatever it is step back empty-handed and feel the relief, feel the confidence, feel the faith, feel the strength of knowing that this one that is often called by the name love, that this one knows exactly what to do. And this one is already doing it. This one that is our divine nature, our divine essence, this love that we are made in the image and likeness of, knows what to do. And so we allow it to begin doing its mighty